I'm still looking at the possibility of uploading a picture in the bucket and to share with the class.
Okay. Now, who else did that correctly? Any person did that correctly?
.pdf file.
Cool. Okay, I see. But Deborah had something uploaded. Any other person did something? Who has trouble moving ahead with that project? Now, everybody, what did we say? Everybody undo your camera, or I don't see your camera, you're not talking, I don't see your face. There's no talking, nothing, then there's no point for me, frankly speaking. It's summertime, I better be with my family too. I cannot sit here. Everybody, please put on your camera or you get off. In 2 minutes, whoever doesn't have their camera, I'll knock them out. As simple as that. Everybody going to put on your camera. We're all going to be talking. Because I don't want to waste my time, right? Waste my time that I'm teaching people and they're just hanging there, but they're not moving forward. And they're not letting us know when we even ask them if they need help. You might as well just stay. Don't be part of the class. I'm really serious on that. If I ask you, have you done it? No answer. Who has not done it? No answer. We might as well just go home. And I stay with 2 people who want to work. Indeed. I see 16 people locked on. I want to see 16 faces. I want to hear 16 people talking. If you cannot participate, I don't need you. I'll really say that. It's irritating. If you cannot participate in this class, right? Nobody's going to pay you money even if you have a job and you're not participating with them. Now you're taking a class, you're not participating. So everybody put on your camera or you leave. That's what I would really say. If you cannot put on your camera, you leave and I'll ban you from the class. You can drop out if you want to. Any person who's online, no camera, today could be your last day joining us. I'm serious. Because it takes a lot for me to do this. A lot more. It's not the money that I think you're paying me that I'm doing this. I'm doing this for the passion of it. It's not for the money. I would spend time doing something much, much better. And I wouldn't even mind having 2 people, right, to teach them for 4 months who are serious than to have 20 people who are not serious. Because the joy for me teaching this is to see people change their status. Frankly speaking, it's not the money, because the money you pay me is absolutely not worth all my time. Not at all. Now it's family time. I'm spending it with you. So want to participate. So I still see some people there. Just totally ignore me. Let me just kick all of them out right now. And those people, please, like Dylan, if you cannot turn on your camera, quit the class now, and I don't want to see you again, okay? Because I ask that every day, and you in particular, you don't. I'll kick you out right now, and I don't need to see you. Lionel, you, even if you are a senior, you are in here. You cannot leave your camera out. You go.
Sir?
Yes.
I'm logged in on another device as well. That's not my camera. But I have my camera on another device.
Okay, yeah, you are
Stan.
recording. So I know. Yeah, you are recording. You're recording for the entire class. It's the other people. Lionel, turn on your camera. What was that? That Stan?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I want to see people who are participating, guys. You don't want to participate? Let me tell you guys at work these days that everything's remote, right? They have daily stand-up meetings, and you turn on your camera, you all talk to each other. You got to start practicing that right from class here. If you cannot practice that here, then I don't see how you're going to cope at work.
Prof, can I be excused for a few minutes, please?
Yeah, you could, yeah.
Thank you.
Yes. Guys, if you look there, you don't see somebody's face, just let me know and I kick them out right away. If you cannot put your face on, stay in your house silent. I don't need you. Everyone, there's no exception except one camera could be off. I know that one is recording for the class. That's the only black screen I should see on here. Apart from that, and that should be Stanley in Virginia, not Stan in Texas. Yeah, I gotta see everybody's face. If I don't see you, you're not part of this class. Very, very simple. Okay. So guys, what we are doing in this class, right? I really, really want us to be good in AWS. So I will try to push in such a way that we do something AWS at least once every day, just so you guys get used to it. I know last week you guys did install AWS command line interface, but everything you can do on the command line interface, you can literally do in the console. And for new people, for those who are just beginning AWS, it's easier to understand whatever you're doing in the console than at the command line, especially for those who are new in IT in general. Okay, so we have to play with this thing, play with the console, play with the command line interface. Those are the two means by which you access AWS. So what you need to learn to do is this: whatever you want, you can do in the console. Find out how do we do that in the command line. Okay, and you keep serious notes. I think next week, for those who have the few who are serious, I would like to lock in. I would like to actually see how you take your notes, because for the class, right? Frankly speaking, for all kinds of schools, note taking is key. Especially today, in the world of today, if you notice, there are very few textbooks because everything is online. But you cannot just survive by going to search online all the time. You have to extract from online the notes that are very, very important, and you keep them. And that is where Evernote comes in. Okay? So you get those notes, you keep them in Evernote, and you master those things. Instead of going to search from the from the web every second. So we really need to learn how to use that little tool called Evernote. It will be your lifesaver. It is my lifesaver. I use it at work every day. I use my Evernote every day, 7 days a week. I use it. There are other things like this Microsoft OneNote, which is much better in terms of formatting, but it is much heavier to run on your Android to even carry all the notes that we can play with in Evernote. And that's why I elected to go with Evernote, because Evernote is completely free at some level. Okay, so this here is that's Barbara's own that file that she uploaded, and she can share with us. And this is the project we started working on. We did not finish. Tomorrow we're going to finish this project. And when we finish this project, it will look something like this. That's project number 1. I know I started it. You created a few, I think we created 5 tables, but I didn't give you more. I'll give you more today to continue working on it. Okay? And frankly speaking, who needs help apart from Floribert on doing the assignment that we gave today? Anybody? If you want, we can share your screen and we work together and you see what you're supposed to do. Anyone? What about you? Let me see. So Lala, did you upload that file? Lala?
Yes, sir. Yes, I uploaded a file.
Okay, but you did not share yet, right?
Where am I supposed to share it?
I'll get the link and put it in the class group.
Okay.
So let me tell you guys another trick of studying these days. You just have to be daring. We cannot sit and give you guidance like click here, click there, click there, click there, click there, click there. You have to open that interface and on your own, you start browsing around and testing things and seeing how they work. That's the best way you're going to learn this thing. Because if we want to give you every single note, every single click, it will be very, very tedious. And it will be too much information for you to be reading, and at the end of the day, you won't learn much. But you have to play with this thing, make mistakes at it, then until you master it completely. Okay? That's the only way you can learn this thing now. Let me see if I could find my login. Who wants to share their screen on the bucket that they created? Let's all look at it together. Oh, I mean somebody who started, maybe just didn't create the bucket yet. We could log into your thing and the whole class, we all run through it together. Who offers? 1, 2, we are 13 of us. Yes, we are 13 of us. Who offers for us to use their account to do that assignment with? Anyone?
Can I share mine?
His own. Okay. Let me just hold on. Give me your AnyDesk number. I can look into your thing and we all log on there. We all view what you're doing.
I think some other person was trying to say something. Are you talking to me, Prof?
No. Somebody said, can they share?
Okay.
So what I said was, let them give me their AnyDesk number, and from there, What's your anydesk? The one who wants to share. Who was that? Who wants us to do this from their account? Somebody? Was it you, Stan? Stan? You are muted, so cannot hear you. Not you, not you. Who wanted us to look at this through their account? Okay, let's look at it through Zion. Did you do that already?
Yes, I did, sir.
Okay. But you did not share your file yet, right?
No, I already shared my file.
Okay. Okay, so my assumption is everybody did then. Everybody did it correctly, please? Who knows the purpose of versioning? When you enable versioning in S3, in an S3 bucket. Who could guess what it does? Anybody?
Generally, versioning is having a backup.
Yes, it's to have backups. You know, like you write something, right? Have version 1, version 2, version 3. So like that, right? If you upload a file and you do some changes and you upload the same file, the old version will be kept. It will not be overwritten. That's the whole idea. Good. Let's start today. It's 8 o'clock. 2 Chronicles 7. I think I had something to share with that for us. Let me see if I could find that. Where are you? Let's share one scripture and then we can continue our class for the day. Okay, but as for you, be strong and do not give up, for your work will be rewarded. Guys, apart from that scripture, I really encourage all of you with that. You gotta stay strong. I want everybody to really know this. Nobody just does computers just like that. You have to do it, repeat this thing over and over and over. Fail and you don't give up. Fail and you don't give up. If you remember the day you started learning how to type, it was like you never know where the characters are. But by the grace of God now, you can maybe close your eyes and type 2, 3 keys. But as you keep working on that computer, you'll be able to type almost all those keys with your eyes closed. So what does it take? Just being strong, not giving up. And naturally, it's actually more God willing, your work will be rewarded. 2 Corinthians 5:17. Guys, we've gone through more than half of our class so far. You've gone through, if you've survived this, you can survive the class easily. We've passed the hardest part of the class already. Right now, after a while, as we get towards the end, then you find out that we have to start going back and you repeat some things. Okay? So just stay strong. Don't give up. You started this, and the God who gave you the spirit to start it would see you to completion, and we're going to complete together. Because this is a very, very rewarding course. Frankly speaking, I'll tell you guys, if it wasn't rewarding, I wouldn't be teaching it anymore. If it wasn't rewarding, I tell you the truth, you know what I'll do? I'll get 2, 3 jobs and I just work and I just make money. I don't spend time. But it's more rewarding for me to see many, many people succeed than for me alone to succeed. Or if I do 2, 3 jobs and I make all the money, what good is it? how much can somebody eat? How much do you need for your life? But the more we share with each other, the better. And that's why sometimes there's no point for me to have people in the class who would be a distraction to those who really want to focus. I better have, like I said, right? I better have 2-3 people who are serious and they'll give me the joy of succeeding through the course than having a class full of people and they don't succeed because some of them were just distractions to others in the class. But with hard work, guys, you would make it. Anyway, we got a lot to do today. I tell you guys. Even though time is half gone, let me see. Like today, yes, I wanted us to revise these things we did, but most importantly, this is the thing for the day. You guys started datapump the other day. Datapump is used for logical backup of your database. So we are going to look at that again today. Then I'll also explain external tables, and then we'll close the chapter of datapump. And datapump is actually what we call logical backup. It is used for logical backup. Used for logical backup of a database. Okay? So it has many uses, but this is one of the prime reasons why we need to know datapump. Cool. With that, let me just pray. Father in heaven, thank you, Lord, for today. I know it's Monday and it's the beginning of the week. Hopefully we are all fresh to start this again. And I pray, Lord, that nobody will feel tired or grow weary who has come this far. Coming this far, God, means they will succeed. And I pray for success. I pray that together we'll be there to encourage each other verbally, visually, spiritually, and in all ways, Lord, that would give you the glory and also bring us to completion of the course with flying colors. And Lord, I thank you for tonight as we begin praying for all the computers. There will be no crashes and there will be no disruptions, but that the next 2.5 hours that we have, Lord, would be more fruitful than even a whole day of study. Through Christ, a lot of credit. Amen.
Amen.
So let's do. Any person needs to know more about that CLI we just talked about. It's so important. Did somebody got stuck somewhere and you want us to together to look and see where you were? If you did, give me your any desk number to lock in right now and guide. But if nobody's willing, then my assumption is it was a piece of cake. You could all upload a file into your machine. And so we would move on. Okay.
And I share my any desk, prof, because I told you where I was.
Yeah, give me your number.
400.
Okay. Thank you. Go back to that thing and disconnect. Bring up the okay, let me exit back. Okay, when I log in, don't minimize that window. There's a speaker there, you click on it first. Let me try again. Let's do, where is that thing? Just hang on 1 second, sir. Okay. Let me go Florida. When I log in, don't minimize yet. Accept, but don't minimize. Yeah, okay, that's it. Okay. So, Floribert is in his account, as we can all see. Where is your bucket? Okay, the bucket you created was this one here, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so if we click there, we can see the properties of the bucket. If we, during creation, you could have enabled versioning there, but I think we can still do it after creation. That's it, versioning, bucket versioning. Means is a means of keeping multiple variants of an object in the same bucket. You can use versioning to preserve, retrieve, and restore every version of every object stored in your S3 bucket. With versioning, you can easily recover from both unintended user actions and application failures. Guys, that's all you need to know about versioning. So here it says it is disabled. So I think we can click on enable and we do enable. After enabling bucket versioning, you might need to update your lifecycle rules to manage previous versions object. That means this, guys, if you have already uploaded files, Floribert, you enable this, those files that were there already would not undergo versioning. That's the whole idea here. But any file you upload now would have the properties to store multiple copies as versions. So let's do that. Save. So that's all I needed you guys to do. Then let's see permissions here. Permissions, bucket objects.
Forget those things. I'm very thankful. And then when I have problems, I'll bring that up too.
Wait. Okay. Just a second there. I just hear noise. Let me give Stanley the privilege. Okay, make you co-host, Stanley. Okay. So, but bucket object not public means these things cannot, this bucket cannot act as a website. The files cannot just be sent to the public and everybody sees them. That's the whole idea. Okay. By default, block all public access. That's in AWS, right? Every service by default is blocked from the public. You have to enable it yourself. You want to share things, you enable it yourself. So that if your things got stolen or your information gets compromised, it is your fault, not that of AWS. Cool. So now that we have done that, let's go upload a file. So I think if I go back to objects here, I can see upload right here or down here. Click there. And I can drag, let me see, no files you have not chosen. I know at one point you could just drag the files in. Do we still have that option? No. Okay, let's click on add files. Now we could go search for the files. We could add folders, entire folders. Okay. Let me see here. Yeah. So let me just click add files. And let's look in your, where's your pictures for crying out loud? We have pictures right here. Let's click there and see if there's any picture. You don't have any picture. Let's get, okay. Take over. Do you have any picture on your thing, on your computer?
No, sir.
Okay. All right, we need to upload a file. Click on a file and upload a file. Music file, any file, who cares? Look for files in your, maybe, let's see, documents. Go to documents. Okay, let's pick this one. Test for AWS. And we see what's in Evernote. No. Let's just pick this one. Test for AWS. Okay. Click on that. And files folder, file name, who cares? We're giving it a new name, should we? Okay, that's a file. So we could go down here, we could do upload. We could change permissions if we want to. The bucket, this bucket has the bucket owner is applied. For object ownership, use bucket policies to control access. Let's see properties. Now, guys, I want you guys to watch this very, very carefully. If you take any AWS exam, you'll be tested on this. Storage classes. The first one is the standard. Everybody uses the standard by default. Frequently accessed data. More than once a month should be put in this directory. Okay? With milliseconds access. Then there's intelligent tiering. Data with changing or unknown access patterns. We don't know. Sometimes people may take it once a month, maybe once in 3 months, maybe once a week. We don't know. So we'll drop that data inside intelligent tiering. Okay? Availability zone. So this one, once you put that data here, right, it will be stored in at least. Let me see, is that greater than or Yes, it will be stored in at least 3. Is that at least? Yes, at least 3 availability zones. That's what it is. Then there's standard. That is standard infrequent access data. Once a month with millisecond access. And this one, minimum storage, you must keep it. They'll charge you for at least 30 days for keeping that data there. And then there is one zone, infrequent access. So recreatable, infrequently accessed data, once a month, stored in a single availability zone. This is probably the cheapest one, because the data is not multiplexed. The data is not kept in different availability zones. It's only in one availability zone, as you see here. So that one will be cheaper than that guy. Then there is Glacier Standard, or Glacier Instant Retriever. Long-lived archive data, accessed once a quarter with instant retrieval in milliseconds. Guys, it is accessed once every 3 months. If you have data like that, you want to keep it inside Glacier Instant Retriever. Let's see the next one. Glacier Flexible Retriever, formerly just called Glacier. Long-lived archive data accessed once a year with retrieval of minutes or hours. Means if you want that data, it may take you a couple of minutes or a couple of hours to get your data back. Okay? They call that Glacier Flexible Retriever. So you can keep that data there for minimum 90 days. Then the next one, Glacier Deep Archive. Long-lived archive data accessed less than once a year. Guys, long-lived data, they access less than once a year with retrieval of hours. So it will take hours for you to download that data. You will keep it there for minimum of 180 days. Then the last one, reduced redundancy. This one, guys, is for non-critical frequently accessed data with millisecond access, not recommended as S3 standard, is more cost effective. So they say this one is not really recommended. And why do they put it there? But anyway, so guys, when you take the AWS exam, right, they'll give you scenarios and they'll ask you, which of these storage choices would you use to store the data in question? You cannot take an AWS exam without seeing a question on storage classes. Cool. So let's see here, what else do we need to know about storage? Additional checksums, tags. Guys, what are tags used? Tags are used to identify objects, okay? So track storage cost or other criteria by tagging objects. A tag is like a number plate to identify cars in the street, right? Okay. Metadata optional. Okay, let's don't worry about that. So we've uploaded. Did we upload yet? Not yet. Started talking. Okay, but I think if we go down, we should see upload somewhere. So click on upload here, and upload succeeded. So our data is in there already, right? So I can close that window, and we can see our file there in S3. Now you can go to the CLI, the command line interface. Let's go there together and we'll see if somebody can remember the commands. So we fly over here. Let me see where we got the file from again. Where did that file come from? From documents? Yes. Let me copy that file to downloads. Okay, let's put the file down here in downloads. So let's try to upload that file. So first we do CD downloads. We must go there because I know this is where your key pair is. I wonder if it's that one. Is that your key pair or is this one? What key pair are you using, sir?
The one you are on now is because I created this one this is the last I created.
All right. So
No. Further back, that's not the key pair.
We need to upload another one. Okay, let's get there. If it fails, then we will know. We need to upload that same file to see if it's going to create another version. So it's very simple. So if we come here, let me type dir. Oh, too many things, right? But I think this is the file we're looking to upload. Now, if we type, what are your, do you remember your commands, sir, or AWS? What is that, guys? Who remembers the command? That was AWS what? Somebody look at your book and tell us. You guys had this in notes last week that, was it Mazula or who gave you guys that little lesson? Everybody go to their note on creating an S3 bucket. Who got there first?
AWS config.
No, you do that when you're configuring. You do it just once on the machine. I'm sure you did it already. After that, was the next command, sir? There is a command that you use to look at the whole thing. What is it? AWS what? Hey guys, watch here. I type AWS and I hit enter. It gives me that. AWS what?
S3LS.
S3 space LS. Let's try that and see if it works. Yes, so it shows your bucket, Floribert. What if you want to see what's inside this bucket? AWS LS, what? It's in that note. Can we do that? I type something wrong front. Okay, show me the file anyway. was asking me to put a. Just 1 second. It's like forward slash. What? Just 1 second. Okay, do that. It should show me the file. That's my file. Now, what do I do to upload this file? Remember the command. AWS what? S3.
CP.
AWS CP. Thank you.
No, AWS. Yeah. Instead of that.
This thing, we type copy. And we upload this file. How do we give the other path? How do we give the directory we want to? No, that's not the file. Just 1 second. That's the directory. Right? Oops. What is that word? What am I doing? Okay, just 1 second. My thing is showing me gibberish. Okay. So it should be AWS copy. Give the file name, which is what is that file name? This is the file name. Then we'll give the directory. Is that what it is? Let's try that and see if it works. Keep putting that emphasis in front. What is that? Okay, just hit enter. Somebody give me the real command. Look in your books. I don't have my notes with me.
The file name must be in quotation marks.
Okay. Which one? I mean the file name. Double quote, single quotes.
Double quote.
Double quote.
Okay. You know what, Floribert?
Sir?
You type that. My keyboard is typing the wrong keys from my thing. Type me a double quote right there and you go type it at the beginning. Oh, yes. You know why? Because it has spaces in the name. If there are no spaces, you don't need the double space. You don't need the double quote. Floribert, type me a double quote right there. Are you with us, sir?
Yes, sir. That I have issues with this keyboard, so I must try it.
Maybe it's your computer. I'm having issues typing those characters.
It happens at times when I type, it gives me something else.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what it was giving me too. What about single quote? Just hold on. Even single quote. Okay, forget that, guy. His computer is giving us some crazy things. I don't want to troubleshoot that now. But all the same, if you upload that file, it's going to create another version from the old one. Okay? Yeah, I cannot type on his thing really. So don't worry, Floribert. But I just tried to, and see, every key I type is typing me something totally different. Any of those special characters. Anyway, so guys, that was part of the project today. If you upload that, you go check, you're going to find that you have 2 versions of that file right now. Timestamped. So, thank you, Floribert. Let's move on to do something else. Hey guys,
Welcome, sir.
Everybody should know something about S3. I think I did give you guys some notes on S3 before. Let me just check and see. S3. Cheat sheet on S3. Let's look at that cheat sheet. Just S3, guys, cheat sheet. Everybody better read that. What is Amazon S3? Everybody better know. Okay? It's nothing but simple. It stands for Simple Storage Service, or S3. It's an object service. No, it's an object storage service that offers industry-leading scalability, data durability, availability, security, and performance. Then number 2, it stores and protects any amount of data from a range of use cases such as data lakes, websites, cloud-native applications, backups, archive, and so on. But Amazon S3 is designed, guys, everybody remember this 11.9, I talked about this before, I just remember, of durability and stores data for millions of customers all around the world. So when is it used? Use cases. When you're building a data lake. And what is that? Run big data analytics, artificial intelligence, AI, machine learning, and other high performance computing, or HPC, right? Applications to unlock data insights. Number 2, run cloud native applications. Number 3, backup and restore critical data. Archive data at no cost. I'll give you everything you need here, guys. All you got to read it and ask me questions. See, we'll talk about those storage classes, right? Here they are. Cool. Okay.
Prof,
Mm-hmm.
yes, you did send this one to us. It was one weekend, and you requested that we read through.
Yeah, thank you.
But I'm sorry, maybe I missed on that. I'm not sure I have the AWS commands you're talking about. I would appreciate
Let me
if.
see. Just hang on. Let's see. AWS services. Let me search for CLI.
Actually, Prof is assuming we did that with Masula or Arnold, but we didn't.
You guys didn't do command line interface?
Those commands, I don't remember.
We did.
That.
Okay, just hang on. Let me see. Here it is. How to install CLI on Windows. Look at it. It looks something like this. You remember this now?
Yes.
That is the Windows command line, guys. That's why it's good to catch those keywords. Command line interface stands for CLI.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I think we did this with Arnold.
Okay, let me tell you guys another trick. These are my notes. When you get this kind of notes from me, because I will not be changing them anytime soon, you click here on save, and it will be saved inside your own Evernote. So that one will be yours. So if I delete mine, you always have yours. So remember, when I send these things in Evernote, my reason for sending that is so that you keep your own copy. You can still always access mine, but it's better you have mine. So the day you stop talking to me, you still have it. So the day I get mad and I disconnect you, you still have the notes anyway. So you forget it. I got all the notes. Cool. Now, let's go to, yes. Hey guys, I want you guys to watch this thing here. So careful.
If you work in IT, you need Terra, an all-in-one remote monitoring and management solution to run your entire IT operations.
That's a combination.
Fast and easy. No contracts, no commit.
Hi all, this is Chetan. Welcome to this lecture.
It would be hard to hear the guy, but it's one of the best I've seen.
AWS basic services. Choose which region we need to deploy in. Now every region further is comprised of typically 2 or more data centers. That's for high availability of AWS services, and those data centers are called availability zones. We will learn more about it shortly.
So guys, we all know what a region is, right? Do we?
Yes.
So far in Africa, we have 2 regions. I know we have that one in Cape Town. There's another one somewhere up here. I don't even know what country, but there's 2 there right now. And who doesn't know what a region is? So we can explain now and for all. What is a region? Hope you can say something about it, guys. Whenever I come to you to talk, you better say something, and we spend a little bit of time on it, or we are passing and never to come back to it. A region is a geographical area far away from others. Like we have the East Coast and the West Coast. We have Europe. We have Africa. So if you watch this map, each of these here is a region. Each of this cluster of, this is a cluster of availability zones. Okay? So everywhere you see this thing is a region. Then availability zones. So like in the East Coast, there are 1 to 3 availability zones. And of those 3, guys, what does that mean? That means when you save your data inside S3, the data is spread out amongst those 3 spaces, or those 3 data centers. An availability zone is like a data center. You know what a data center is? Write that word down and you Google it, since you will not ask. Then there's edge locations. Edge locations are different from availability zone. They're smaller, tiny data centers put near the client, so the client can load his data there and it goes fast to get to S3 and the world. So and then 11 regional caches, 130 services.
Also, as in AWS global data centers, there are something called edge locations. Now, edge locations are something like you can consider it like an caching devices, which are there across 100 plus cities across the world.
Now, what's an edge location? What he just explained. If you have a data center, let's say the one in South Africa, right? You may have edge locations around here. So whatever is actually stored in that region, it is copied and also stored in the edge locations. So the edge locations are more like memory. Things piled there up before they are sent to the main availability zone or data center.
World. And
but that's something worth reading, guys. Let me see if I could see anything else. In fact, I really wanted to go to a small.
Hi, welcome to this lecture, Introduction to AWS Networking. I know to site VPN, client VPN, and as a DevOps, it comes with a default loop, and that means one subnet cannot be in 2 edges and talk to internet from these subnets directly from the outside, being a private subnet, and they would only have the private IP.
Anyway, I want you guys to take this thing and go through it slowly. I don't want to rush through it. And it's going to tell you what a public subnet is, what a private subnet is, what is an EC2, what is, what did I see here? Internet gateway. But we cannot do this standing. So, you all have this particular note. Please swing through it. And if you don't have the time, then I understand.
Yeah, that means this is.
Just 1 second, I want to get out of there. Okay, it's escape. Okay, apart from that, let's take a tiny little break, right? Then we come back, a little bit where I rested. Then we go to chapter 17 again. Now it's 7:46. Let's take a few minutes break, come back at about 9:05. And then, guys, we go through datapump one more time. See you guys in a few minutes. Let me go drink some water.
This is Grace too.
Yes, we are back. We are back, Stanley. Yes, I think now we should jump and look at datapump. Datapump. One of the things most used in especially in Oracle. You must know datapump. So let me prepare my thing here and we share that bad boy and see where it takes us. Lots of hands on. Dun, 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 dun. Okay. All right. Hey guys, any question from anybody on this thing here called SQL Loader? Where is it? SQL Loader. Where do we see? Where did that begin? Right here, people. SQL Loader. Anybody got any question? Just overall, the overall big picture. You have to know the big picture of this thing before you worry about the details. Because at an interview, right, most of the time they want to just get the big picture. They will not really jump in and start asking you the tiny little details. No. They want to see if you understand the big picture of it. Now, let me ask, what is SQL Loader used for? Everybody turn on your camera. Please turn on your camera. You got to see each other. What is the use of SQL Loader? SQL Loader. Everybody turn on your camera or you go home. Or you turn off the thing and go to sleep in your house. Let me start with, hey, Stanley, give me one. What is the use of SQL Loader? That's the first thing you should know about it. What is it used for? You don't have to worry to remember the syntax because you can always get an example and you copy and you edit it to make the script work. But you need to at least be able to tell somebody what the thing is. What's the use of SQL Loader? Hello guys, turn on your cameras.
It's an Oracle utility used for moving data from a non-Oracle database to Oracle database. That's what I know.
Yeah.
Moving huge data from a non-Oracle database to Oracle.
Anybody who could not answer that question, please. If I did ask that question, you could not remember that tiny little idea. You want to write down this sentence before I go to the next page. The sentence would be, just hang on, let me see. So SQL Loader is used to do a bulk upload of data sets or data generated from some third-party system into Oracle. It is used to load, or even the heading here says it, to load data from non-Oracle databases into Oracle. Please, if you did hesitate once, you just want to write down this. That's a way to help yourself. Because we did this thing a week ago. Okay. And SQL loader, SQL loader or SQL loader, we saw deals with how many files did I highlight? Hang on. What are the different kind of files involved? I know I marked them somewhere and I numbered them. Okay, down here. So guys, just 1 second. My thing is lagging so bad. Okay, let me stop and restart this thing. It is like 45 seconds behind my actions. See if it works fine now. If it doesn't, I have to switch and put it on a different computer. Okay, that's a little bit better. Okay, hey guys, everybody should write down this about SQL loader files. So guys, SQL loader uses a number of files. The first one is called the input data file. I want to somebody to write for me SQL loader files. And number one, input data file. And number two would be the control file. And number three file would be the log file. It's log file. Then number four, there's going to be a bat file. What goes inside the bat file? Let's see. What is in the bat file? In the bat file, we may have stuff like, let's see if I could underline that. By the database. Perhaps because they do not. Okay, so guys, things that, or data that does not conform to, the format expected by the control file or by the database. Okay, in either case, they are written to the bat file. So the bat file simply takes data that does not conform. Does not conform to the database. And then, if the rows were successfully extracted from the input, but rejected because they did not. So there's another set. That's if the rows did not match some record selection criteria, they are written to the reject file. Then there is, we have 5 files, okay? Input file, control file, log file, bat file, and reject files. Cool. And I hope and pray somebody did this example. If you did not, I don't know what to say. Okay, I need to switch machines. Just hang on 1 second, guys. Because I just realized that whatever I'm showing is so slow there, only God knows. So let me switch to my small machine here and see if it will work much better. Yes, the lagging is way too much for me to bear. So I need to switch. No computer audio, continue. So I'm going to do okay, I can stop the video down there and I can share the screen much better. Cool. I think this one will work much better, guys. So people, from this little discussion, right, what we should know now is that when you're dealing with SQL Loader, you're going to deal with 5 files. Okay, let me share that screen for the new one that I'm sharing with you guys. Screen number 2, yes. Cool. Okay, absolutely no lagging on that one. No lagging at all. So, folks, did everybody write that down for me? What I was saying is this, people, that everybody should do this. Just 1 second, let me see. Yeah. This is all you need to know about SQL Loader, as a matter of fact. SQL, and they put some crazy style here, and they say loader. Okay, so what does SQL do? Frankly speaking, all I want to know, one out here is, number 1, it is an Oracle utility. Used in loading non-Oracle data. Or call it data sets into an Oracle database. That's all you need to remember. Then, SQL Loader. Files, we just call it SQL Loader files. For the SQL Loader files, number 1, the most important one would be what we call the input data file. This one contains the actual data. Data to be loaded. Then number 2 of importance would be the control file. And this control file, who can guess what control file does again? Somebody read from the notes. Tell me. What does the control file do?
It says it's a text file instructing SQL Loader on how to process the input data files.
Good. So this file, we'll say this contains instructions or directives. I'll use another word. Or SQL loader. On how to load the data. Number 3 file will be the log file. Log files are always there, guys. This one will keep a record of everything SQL loader is doing. Number 4. After the log file, we could say, which is number 4 on that list?
Bad file.
Bad files.
Okay, bad file. All the bad records. Records that could not be read from the disk or from the data file. Number 5. Reject. Records rejected by Oracle. There's some tiny little difference here. So this guy will contain records or rows. Rejected by Oracle. Number 5. Number 6. What's number 6 there?
There's no number 6.
There are just 5?
Yes, sir.
I'm in class. Can I call you?
No. Okay. Cool. Guys, that's all you need to know about this thing. Simple. Let's go to the next thing. Just one more second, let me.
One question, Prof.
Yes, sir.
Just below there on the exam tip, it says all files related to SQL loader are client-side files. What does that client-side files mean?
It means they are created by the client software on the client machine. So, for example, if you connect into your machine and you are loading this file, you connect from your machine and you type SQL Plus to some database that is on a server in New York. All these files will be produced in your machine here because you're connecting from a client machine. That's what that means. They are not server side. The server processes have nothing to do with these files. And the server processes are on the server, on the big machine that has its Oracle server on there. But you connect with a client. Yes. And those files can run remotely. They could be in a totally different machine. Guys, but I did the example in class, and that example was inside the Evernote I share with you. If you did not do it, I really have very little to say. I'm just dumbfounded. There's something now called SQL Loader Express. So guys, watch that. And you may see this only in an Oracle exam, but I've never ever used it in real life. It is the same SQL loader, but it is the express mode. What makes it express mode? Express mode, guys, you don't have to create that. The control file is the most complex file to be created because you create that control file. With express mode, you don't have to. Let's see the difference between express mode, guys. This is a very simple way to use SQL loader that requires no control file. Catch that. All is this thing. The big thing here is it requires. One way to write from a SQL loader express requires no control. Okay. And let me see. We're talking about, okay, let's see how they use the SQL loader down here. Let's look at this. They'll go back, go read up there this express one. So guys, I want you guys to watch here. This guy types dir. I hope you all know what does dir do? Someone tell me what dir does.
The directory.
The directory. What does it do? Why would somebody type dir?
It's equivalent to list.
Yes. List directory contents. It is Windows. Once you, even though this is typically done in Windows, that's a Windows command. And for Linux, the equivalent of that command
ls
would be ls minus l, not just ls. It will be ls minus l. So that is the same as dir. Good. So this guy typed that command, and then, then he types SQL loader. Watch that. And SQL loader kind of runs. When SQL loader runs, you see a file here. Depth.dat, that's the data file, just from the name. Then, now, he didn't type that command out there. He did not type that command. Let me go back. I just realized something. The command he typed was dir. And dir displayed all of these contents. dir displayed these things. That's the output of dir. But the guy is inside this folder when he typed dir. So his main folder or current folder is that folder right there. That's his main folder. Then inside that folder, you have that file. That's the only file in there. Then the guy comes down and he types this big command. SQL loader. SQL loader. Scott Tiger at that database. They say table equals depth. So it's loading data inside the table called DEPT. This is the catch here. Not guys, that DEPT is that. See that? The table name must be the same as the name that contains the data file. That's all it is. Just type it like that. And that data file, the columns are arranged exactly as the columns in the table. So once you run that, it's going to run. Then, let's see the output. So it ran, it says express load on that depth table, external table, degree, blah, 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 depth. That's the table, and it did 2 rows successfully loaded. They say check the log files. So notice here log file is produced. Okay? And let's see what else is produced here. Oh, there's a bat file produced. Yep, and that's it. In other words, guys, we take a data file that looks exactly as the table as far as the columns are concerned, and we can just run it without using the control file. That's what the Express would do for us. Let me just zoom in a little bit. I want you guys to read this a little bit more, and you'll catch some more tricks in there. At the directory listing, okay, there is one file. Yep, there's only one file in there, we saw that. This has to be created according to the description given previously. Then SQL Loader executable is launched connecting as user's code with the connect string, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I won't read any of those again. Let's just go forward. We don't have to know all of that. Okay, maybe this here is important. Express mode is easy, but is demanding in its requirements. Yeah, it's you have to prepare a lot of things before you use the express mode. And they give us some examples here. Say there must be a data file with the same name as the table name to be loaded. And the file name must end with .dat. That's one condition, right? Just a second. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, just 1 second. It placed my machine in the right order. SQL Loader, SQL Loader. Oh. No. This is a small chapter, but the most important thing here is to just understand what this chapter is all about, loading data in the database. Okay, what's the next thing? The column must be a scalar data type. Guys, we saw data types when we studied Oracle, when we studied, it was chapter 5 or so. So scalar data types are characters, numbers, or dates. The fields in the file must be comma delimited. Who knows what comma delimited means in SQL Loader? If they're talking SQL Loader and they say it should be, column should be comma delimited. Who knows what that means? And they say not enclosed in quotes. Can anybody explain to me what comma delimited stands for? Okay, means this,
It
right?
means that you separate all columns by comma for it to understand when it's reading through.
Thank you. Means this. If you watch here, this is comma delimited. For those who did this assignment may understand, but if you did not do it, this will just be gibberish to you. So that's comma, comma, comma. Every time you see a comma, you know that's the end of a column. So they call that comma delimited. Comma delimited. Cool. Let's go down. Let's go do something more important. Talk about this thing called external tables. I won't even go through the rest of it. Or let's just see the last two things here. The input rows must have values for every column of the table. The user must have the create any directory privilege. In other words, to use Express, right? To use SQL Loader Express, it requires too much things, too many things, and so typically we don't use that. Practically we don't. Now, guys, the next big thing that we should know is called external tables. I want everybody to write this, at least this heading for me, and I want you to remember this heading, worst case. External tables are used to move data via platform independent files. Means the data comes in files that are the operating system files, but can move that data from there into the database. That's the whole thing about external tables. Nothing much bigger than that. External tables. You hear a lot about them. Cool. With that said, let's see an example and then we can move on. So guys, an external table, guys, catch that, is visible to select statements like any other table, but you cannot perform DML against statements, no DML statements against it. So that's one big thing here, that you cannot perform data manipulation language statements against it. You know what DMLs are?
This is yours.
Insert, delete, update, merge. This is because it does not exist as a segment. So guys, catch that. Means an external table does not exist as a segment in the database. Who knows what they say when they say something does not exist as a segment? What does that mean? If you know what a segment is. Anyone? Yes? Can anybody guess what they mean by that? An external table does not exist as a segment. If you know what a segment is, you should be able to guess that.
Is there a record of the physical file?
Wait. What did you say?
I said there's no record of the physical file in the data file.
Yeah, kind of.
Because it only exists in the operating system and for the data dictionary in memory.
Yes, the data is sitting in the operating system. Therefore, there are no blocks, no Oracle blocks for it. Okay, so we can say external tables has no segments, i.e. no extents or blocks. That's the whole thing. It doesn't exist as a segment. It exists only as a data dictionary construct pointing towards one or more. So guys, this is the key here. I really don't want everyone to copy down if they could. That it exists only as a data dictionary construct pointing towards one or more operating system files. The operating system files of an external tables are located through the Oracle directory object. I know we created, we'll talk about directories the last class. Cool. A common use. So guys, what do we use this thing for? But before that, everybody please put a star here. Remember, you should read this and read that and read that. So let's talk about the use. So common use of external tables. What are they used for? To avoid needing to use SQL Loader to read data into the database. If you have data but you don't want to keep it inside your database, then use external table to read the data. This can give huge savings in ETL, SQL, typically used to update a decision support system. So guys, whoever catch this big word that we've seen before, ETL, extract, transform, and load. DSS, decision support system. Maybe another one you need to know today is a feeder system. So the data that is loaded using SQL Loader usually comes from some feeder system. Okay, and that feeder system is usually something like the OLTP database. Consider the case where a feeder system regularly generates data sets as a flat American standard code for information interchange. So guys, I want everybody to write me down this word, right? Everybody write me this word down. Everyone just write me down that word, then you write the meaning near it. Because you're going to see that word almost all your life dealing with data. ASCII. A-S-C-I-I. It's pronounced ASCII. What is ASCII? Stands for this guy. ASCII stands for American Standard Code for Information Interchange file. An ASCII file. And it's usually flat. As a matter of fact, it's a flat file. Cool. So guys, cases where we can use SQL Loader, but we are not interested in storing the data in our database, are good candidates for using external tables. So, to create an external table, we use the create table command with the keywords. So guys, use that with the keywords organizational external. And once you do that, this tells Oracle that the table does not exist as a segment. Then specify the layout, location of the operating system file. Here's an example. So guys, this is how an external table is created. So most of the time we just do something like create table, give you a new table name. Then after that, we start listing our columns. In this case, department name, location. Then when we finish there, that's our last column, location or LOC, right? We then say organization external. And by default, we always just keep us Oracle loader. Default directory. And guys, they'll give a directory that they have created. And then access parameters. And everything now becomes those 5 files. Records delimited by new line. And if you remember, okay. In other words, each time you hit enter, that means a new record is beginning, okay? That's what I mean by new line. Then now we have the bat file, the discard file. Oops, I didn't write the discard file in the top. I knew there was 5 of them. Log file, 1, 2, 3. Okay. Fields terminated by missing field values, location, depth.dat. So guys, this is a simple example of an external table. No indexes, no segments are mentioned anywhere, no extents available, none. If you ever have to create this thing, guys, they ever ask you, this should be your starting point. Cool. And what makes it an external table? This is the main thing, guys. When you start by mentioning this part here. Organization external. Once you say that, now Oracle knows this is an external table. Okay. Let's see here. I think we should go past the section and move on to the real stuff. So below here, they're just explaining things in that table, so I'm going to pass that. Except maybe highlight this. External tables, what's the last paragraph here, guys? It says external tables can be queried in the same way as internal tables. Any SQL involving a select statement will function against an external table. External tables can be used in joins, views, and software. They cannot have indexes. You guys catch that? Constraints or triggers. Then there's some exercise. Now if I'm you, I'll do this exercise 3-4 times over. Then let's talk about datapump. It has a huge architecture. To tell you the truth, I will not spend time going through that architecture, for I have never seen it asked anywhere. But if you have time, it will be a good thing to come back and read that architecture, indeed. Okay? That's what I can say. But talking about datapump, guys, that's the key thing. Datapump, like it pumps data from one place to another, that's all. Okay? And now, I know, George, you did ask about what do those files mean? What does it mean by saying that those files were a client side? Yes, SQL Loader, external table are all clients, side utilities. But datapump is a server-side utility, not client. Why? You initiate datapump jobs from a user process, but all the work is done by the server process. So for the ones that are client-side utilities, right? The work is done on the client, in other words. This improves performance dramatically. However, you see, so when the job is done on the server side, it improves performance dramatically over the all export-import utility. Because the data pump process running on the server have direct access to the data files and the SGA. They do not have to go via a session. It is possible to launch data pump job and then detach it. Yeah, this is something I've seen in the question in an exam. So you can start your data pump job, right? You actually detach it or stop it, and then attach it back later on. So you detach it, it's actually running in the background. You can connect to the job to monitor its progress. Then there's something I'm going to highlight here in a big, nice color. All export-import utility. Guys, data pump is an improvement to something we used to just call export-import. Data pump is much more robust. It is faster, supposedly. It has more advantages over the old export utility, but you still have the old export, even in Oracle 19 is still there. Okay. So, these are some details here, but I just need a few. Involved in data pump job are a number of processes. What are the number of processes, guys? 2 queues. A number of files. And one table. The user processes are, so guys, there's user processes involved, believe it or not. Those user processes are, EXPDP and IMPDP. Or if it's in Windows, it is EXPDP.exe, and so on. So, but remember this, guys. These are the processes that will start up this. If you want to pull data out, use the EXPDP. That's like export data pump, right? And if you want to put data in, you use the IMPDP. Import. Okay, these are used to launch. So, EXPDP, what do we use them for? They are used to launch, control, and monitor data pump jobs. I see they'll tell us more about that EXPDP here. And you see that process, right? Remember, it's actually a user process. See that EXPDP or, oops, I missed the other one. That one or IMPDP user processes. What do? They establish sessions against the database through normal server processes, either locally or via a listener. This process then commands to control and monitor data pump jobs. When a data pump job is launched, at least 2 processes are started. What are the two processes started? The data pump master process called DMNN, and 1 or more worker processes called DWNN. If multiple data pump jobs are running concurrently, each will have its own DWNN. This will really make sense more when we start using it, guys. Okay? As the name implies, the master process controls the workers. Yes. Master, control the workers. Oops. I'll highlight that, doesn't want to do it. Okay, I would skip the rest of it, frankly speaking. Let's move forward. But guys, remember, the workers, it has worker processes, right? And they say those worker processes are actually like the horse, or the horse doing all the work in this thing. So the worker processes pick up this task and execute them, perhaps making use of parallel execution servers. This queue operates on a deliver exactly once method. Okay, we don't need to know all of that jargon. Let's move forward to go use this thing. Then the fine detail. Something. Let me see here. See something hanging on my screen. Is that my old screen? It looks like. Yeah. Okay. It is easier to understand this doing it than just reading the theory without ever touching it. So that's why I started by letting Arnold take you guys through using this thing physically. Okay, let me see here. Yep. So guys, let's talk about files generated by datapump. This is so important. So the files to be generated, right? It's just three kinds of files actually. Yeah, there are 3 forms of those files that will be made, and they would be SQL files, DOM files, and log files. See that? 2, 3, that's it. Now for the SQL files, let's see, what are the SQL files? The SQL files. So the SQL files are data definition language statements describing objects included in the job. So if you run SQL loader, if you run datapump, right, and you say SQL file equals, give a file name, it's going to take all the DDLs that are inside that inside that database and put all of them inside one file. So you have things like create table, create index, create table space, create everything will be inside that one file. You can choose to generate them. So guys, for this SQL file, you can choose to generate them without any data as an easy way for getting this information out of the database, perhaps for documentation. So why would we create a SQL file? Sometimes for documentation or as a set of scripts to create the database. So they give us a couple of reasons why people would use or they give us examples of why people will create this file, SQL files. And as we see here, it will be number 1, just getting information out of the database. Number 2, it could be you're doing that to use it to document your database. And number 3, or as a set of scripts to recreate the database. Yep. We just do that to create scripts that I can take them and go to create your database somewhere else. DOM files contain contain the exported data. So guys, this is the next set of files. It's called the DOM files. So let me write number 2. DOM files. So what is inside the DOM files? It is the actual data. This is formatted in a fashion resembling XML tags. Nobody will ask you that. This means that there is considerable considerable overhead in DOM files for describing the metadata. Okay, let's not even worry about that. That line does not matter. Let me see what else is important. Let me look at my own notes here, so don't spend time on what doesn't matter. Cool. Let's read the exam tip here. Exam tip says, datapump can be invoked by a client, but it runs on the server. All the files are server side. But this is what we talked about. With nothing on the client. Cool. That's definitely always an exam question. Finally, there is the control table. So there is something called the control table. I think that's the third thing I'm looking for. So what is this control table? They said this is created for you by DMNN when you launch a job, and is used both to record the job's progress and to describe it. It is included in the DOM file as the final item of the job. So guys, let's just talk about this a tiny little bit. I know there's an exam question that I've seen on it like a couple of times of that control table. Guys, so when you run datapump, you create something called a control table. I want everybody, guys, put a big star on this thing so when we get there, we may come back and look at it. So 3 kinds of files: SQL files, DOM files, and the control table. Now let's talk about methods of running datapump. This is key.
Can you say control table files, sir?
No, the control table has the data inside already.
Okay.
But those other files are files in the operating system with the data inside. Hey guys, datapump has 2 methods for loading and unloading data. Guys, watch that. 2 methods for loading and unloading data. Yes, you must catch this. So the first one, guys, is the direct path. What are they? Direct path and external table path. Those are the 2 methods. Methods of what, guys? For loading and unloading data into the database. So let's zero in on the direct path. So what does the direct path do? They say direct path bypasses the database buffer cache. For a direct path export, datapump reads the data blocks directly from disk. So guys, catch that. When you run that thing, if you're doing a direct path export, datapump reads the data blocks directly from disk, extracts and formats the content, and writes it out as a DOM file. For a direct path import, datapump reads the DOM file. So guys, pay attention to this direct path. It means this. If you remember, guys, if you all remember, we had our database like this. We had this. This was SGA. This was the buffer cache. Redo log buffer. And shared pool. And we actually saw that the buffer cache is made up of buffers. Then we had our data files back here. Okay, so this was our data files. Then there is the background processes in the middle. In this case, the biggest one of concern would be there's the log writer, there's the DB writer. Then we had a server process. Let's just call that SP. Then you have your user up here. Okay, have your user. So if you're on a computer, working up here, let's assume they're sitting on a table or standing on a table. Okay, and that user logs in through SQL Plus and the listener. Okay, remember that's a process. So logs in there, coming in with the data. Normally, by all standards, that connection, when that user process comes in here, it's supposed to bring the data here. That is the conventional way. Then from there, that data, it sits here. From there, that data will be taken out by the database writer to the database files. But when you have direct path, right, what happens is this. The data bypasses that whole thing and comes here. And who is moving that data? Is the server process that moves that data. It bypasses the buffer cache. So it is really fast. So guess what? Redo-log files are not generated. Undo segments are not generated. Okay? So that will be what we call direct path. Yep, direct path. And then this other one here would be called, supposed to be called convention.
Conventional.
Conventional path load. Remember, this is loading data, right? Direct path load. Data goes straight. So the server process gets the data from the user, formats them into Oracle blocks, and dumps them right straight to the data files above the high water mark. We saw that someplace. Okay? Let's just zoom in again and read here a little bit. Direct path is the key that we're talking about. Let me put a star near here. It's all about direct path we're talking about. Okay? Let's read one more thing about direct path. For direct path import, okay, this is now for the import. So there's direct path import and there's direct path export import. The one I just showed you guys was the export. As a matter of fact, yes, the one I just showed here. I also want to take this copy. So that will be direct path. This is the is not both really. Oops. How come I wrote that? Should be import. Because it's going the other way. But if it is going that way, it will be direct port export. Or could I just put import for export? Because export means the data is going the opposite way. The data goes that way. And back to the user. That will be export. Export, import. Cool. Hope I'm not just wasting my time. I hope somebody's understanding something. If not, we should just be reading the book. Hey guys, let's talk about this direct path import. So, if you're doing the import using direct path, means you don't want to use, you want it to go really fast. Most of the time they do that for huge amounts of data. That the one in data to be loaded very, very fast to reduce downtime. So for direct path import, datapump reads dump file, uses its contents to assemble blocks of the table data and writes them directly to the data files. The write is above the high water mark. Okay, I didn't mention that. Of the table, with the same benefits as those described earlier in SQL Loader. Then, instead of calling this book, instead of calling it conventional path, I will correct it to here. So guys, the other one, they call it the external table path. aka conventional. Yeah, that's what that thing is. Oops, that's not what I want. Please, I want to draw a red line around here. Because this one is the thing I want us to remember. Then it says external table path. This one, guys, is the regular way. Uses the buffer cache. Even though datapump is manipulating files that are external to the database, it uses the database buffer cache as though it were reading and writing an internal table. For an export, datapump reads blocks. Break it out. So for export, so this is the same thing here. So you have import, export, right? So if you're doing an export, datapump reads blocks from the data files into the cache through a normal selection process. From there, it formats the data for output to a dump file. During an import, let's see, what was that? External table export. Okay, now it's import. So what happens during an import, sir? Guys, it looks confusing, but you do the exercises, it will look so easy. But if you go and don't do the exercises, it will look forever confusing. So, it said during an import, datapump. Oops, 1 second. Datapump constructs standard insert statements from the contents of the dump file and executes them by reading blocks from the data files into the cache. where the insert is carried out in the normal fashion. As far as the database is concerned, external table datapump jobs look absolutely ordinary. No, external table datapump jobs look like absolutely ordinary, though perhaps rather large select statements. In other words, guys, we explain it the way I understand it. So external table jobs, right? The import is like you're doing an insert into the database, but in large quantities, many rows per second. And during export, it's like you're doing kind of a select statement, but you're doing that so fast that the data fills up the blocks very easily. That's the operating system blocks. Okay. Let's go look at some examples. What time is it? 10:18. I don't believe that. So, what determines whether datapump uses direct path or external path? Guys, the answer is so small. You as a DBA have no control. So guys, or as a matter of fact, datapump decides whether he wants to use external path, external table path or direct path. Okay? I don't know why they even make it a big deal for us to even study it now. Datapump itself, so guys, catch this. Datapump itself makes the decision based on the complexity of the objects it is loading. Only simple structures such as heap tables without active triggers, guys, catch this, can be processed through the direct path. Then it says more complex objects such as cluster tables force datapump to use external table path because it requires interaction with the SDA in order to resolve complexities. In either case, datapump file generates in either case, data file generated.
The dump file.
The dump file generated is the same. Okay. In other words, guys, even though they're telling us about the external table path and the direct path, we don't make the choice. Oracle would decide. If you have any question on that, we'll simply ask you, who would decide, or can the DBA decide to use external path or the direct path? Typically, direct path goes faster. If you want to import a huge amount of data, can you force datapump to use the direct path? No, you cannot. But for the all export import, you can force it to use the direct path, but not anymore. And that's it for that. Let's go look at some examples. So guys, what is the main use of datapump? Guys, datapump, export and imports are used to move data between Oracle databases. Guys, catch that. Between Oracle databases. It cannot move data to anything other than Oracle. It either moves data into Oracle or out of Oracle into a dump file. And we are told here, the next line, that it is commonly used for extracting large amounts of data from one database and inserting it into another. But it can also be used to extract other information such as PL/SQL code or various object definitions. That's the DDL. There are several interfaces. So guys, how do we run datapump? The one you guys tried the other day must have been the command line utilities. Or you can use OEM, Enterprise Manager Cloud Control. Or you can use PLC Call Application Programming Interface. Whatever purpose and technique I use, the files are always in the datapump proprietary format. So guys, only datapump can read its files. No other application can read them and make sense out of them. It is not possible to read a dump file with any tool other than datapump. That's what I was just repeating now. Capabilities. Whatever interface is used, datapump has these capabilities. So some things about datapump that we should know would be, number one, fine-grained object data selection facility. Mean that datapump can export either. So guys, datapump can export either the complete database or any part of it. It is possible to export data definitions with or without the rows. Okay. The next point is exporting a table. Guys, with datapump, you can decide to export just one table. That's fine. I think you guys did that example the other day. Come on. Let me draw my notes. It is possible to apply the where clause. To restrict rows. So you actually write a select statement and you include it with your datapump to export just some data. Okay? Although this may make the direct path impossible, or to instruct datapump to export random. Okay, we don't care about that. The next thing is parallel processing. So, using parallel processing, guys, you can speed up datapump. Parallelism can come at two levels. Right? That big word, parallelism, is a word worth knowing. So it can come at two levels. The number of datapump workers processed and the number of parallel execution servers each worker process uses. We're going to see this. The next thing, datapump has an estimate facility. What do we use that for? To calculate the space needed for a datapump export without actually running it. So you can run datapump, right, just to see how much space am I going to need to do my export. But some of them can be large. And then datapump has this thing we call the network mode. That one is very important. So that one allows of a datapump data set, allows transfer of a datapump data set from one database to another without ever staging it to disk. So guys, we use this one, right, to move data from one database to another without creating a dump file. All the data will move over the network. This is implemented by datapump export job on the source. So the job is on the source database, writing the data over the database link to the database, or to the target database, where datapump import job reads the data from the database link and inserts it. So guys, that one is usually something like this. If I explain it, you have a database here, right? I have a database here. Very simple. Let's call this DB1, DB2. Then what we do is we'll create a DB link over it. I'll have a schema in here. Let's call that schema Scott. Then we also have a schema here. We'll create a schema here called Scott. Then we can effectively use datapump to move data from here into that user. You see? So when we're doing that, we need to configure, let me see, what do they call that? Network mode. Okay. So they call this whole thing network mode export and import. That's what this whole thing is. Okay, so they call it, as you see here in the note, the network mode. They say it allows transfer of a datapump data set from one database to another without ever staging into disk. We don't put it on the hard drive at all. Then there is something also called remapping. Remapping facilities mean that objects can be renamed or transferred from one schema to another. And in the case of data objects, move from one table space to another. Yep, datapump can do that for us. Then another thing that datapump can do for us is compress and encrypt. While exporting, right? While we're exporting the data, it can be compressed and exported. And encrypted rather. Compressed means they'll make it smaller. Encrypted means even if somebody steals it, it'll be gibberish. Using datapump with the command line utility. So now this takes us to exactly where you guys were the other day. Okay? Did everybody practice the export import with Arnold on Thursday? Who did not practice that export import yet? I say that so I can know how fast I go. There's no point for me repeating things that you've done. Or you have much to cover. Everybody turn on your camera. Remember, turn your camera, you're going on or you're going home. All right. Who's there? Maybe I'm alone online. As I check there, I don't see you guys. Everybody's thing is blocked. What is the point? I'll be very serious with this tomorrow. Any person who keeps doing that, I dismiss them from my class and I say goodbye. You don't have to take it. You don't have to be part of this class. Any person who's not ready to follow, you quit. You leave the class. Who did not yet do the exercises of export, import from the notes I gave, from the notes you guys, Arnold gave you guys, which all you were supposed to do was copy and paste. Who did not get to doing them yet? Lord have mercy. Do we have to go over that again? Yes or no?
Prof,
Prof,
I think
Prof, I
we
think we
completed in
didn't.
class with Arnold. If we go over probably maybe your own version of the explanation, it can give another perspective. That is my opinion. But we went through it with Arnold.
But
Yeah.
we did not go to the end.
We didn't finish.
Anyway.
We didn't finish.
Yeah. It's a long document, you cannot finish. It's a very long one. Maybe the first 3 pages is all you need to do. All the exercises, table export. So, for example, let me see what time it is. Okay. Let's talk about this one here. So, guys, you always hear this thing about command line. And that command line, you remember, is what we just talked about in AWS. But every application has its command line. So that's what they call the CLI, right? But this one, because it's just command, they call it this is CMD. CMD will always stand for command. And then they'll put the L there for line, okay? But that's not the utility. That simply means you run this thing at the command line on that black screen. That's all it is. So you hear that they are generally called the command line utilities. So you can run datapump, and that's where it's typically run anyway. 90% of the time you run it at the command line, all right? But the big thing everybody must remember is that thing is located inside that directory, Oracle Home Bin. If you go to Oracle Home Bin, you're going to see the file in there. I don't have time now to go to our diagram. You see EXPDP and IMPDP in there. Maybe I'll show you that when we get there. The following are several examples. Note that in all cases, the command must be a single line. Guys, I want you guys to catch this little phrase of it here. If my thing just blank out, yes. Guys, the command must be a single one-line command. The line breaks are purely for readability. So as you go through these, guys, if you see like this one here, you see here to put line, if you notice here, line 1, line 2, line 3, line 4, line 5. They make it just so you can read it easily. To type it in reality, you do one line at a time. So, everybody watch here. So, that's the command to invoke export or datapump export. After you get that command, often naturally the next command would be the username. User running this thing. In this case, it is sys. And then if you see that at, after that at, this will be your connect string. But if you're doing it in a local database on your machine, you don't have to put the connect string. Then this is the big boy right there. Full equals to what? Means what we are doing, exporting the entire database. Parallel equals to 2. So we're going to have 2 workers running that. Then your dump file. Dump file is where the data will be loaded. Because the DBFs will all be loaded in the dump file. Then in your dump file, watch how they are given here, guys. In this dump file here, they say something like this. Data dir1. Notice there's another data dir2. The third one. No. So this thing, if you notice, they're exporting to 2 different directories. And this is the reason, guys, here. we have parallelism equals to 2. So this will be one process and another process. That gives us parallelism equals to 2. So that one server process will be writing on one file. And see how the file names or how the files are named. Watch here. That's the file name. That's the file name. But in the file name, you might have noticed that %u. What are those, guys? Okay, we're going to look at that later on. Let's just read this whole thing. Then file size. So guys, what? There is file size. And then compression equals all. So if you want to understand this whole thing, please, you may come back here and you read this a little bit more carefully. As a matter of fact, let me go back up here and explain one more thing. Guys, this is parallelism means we'll be exporting in multiple streams, in this case 2 streams. And then dump file is where your data, whatever you're exporting will go inside there. And then if you see this dir2 colon, that this name here I did not explain. This is the name of the dump file. That's your dump file name. And this %u is kind of like a wildcard. It will be substituted with unique characters so that those 2 file names will be different. They cannot be the same. Okay. The command will connect to the database as system. So guys, later I want you to read this carefully and launch a full datapump export using 2 workers. So let me go back up here again and let's explain. So this 2 parallel equal to 2 means 2 workers. That's what that means. Okay? Let's go back down. 2 workers processes. So they call those 2 worker processes working in parallel. Each worker will generate its own set of dump files, uniquely named according to that. So guys, what's that? That %u. It will uniquely name each dump file, which generates a unique string of 8 characters. Each worker will break up its work into 2 gigabyte files. Guys, perhaps because of the underlying operating system of the compression data. So guys, see this one here. This is the one they're talking about, that the file size cannot be greater than this. Dump file max size. That's what it is. Cool. Let me see if there's another thing to talk about. So guys, so that's a typical export there. Then to do the reverse import, right? A corresponding import job which assumes that the files generated by the export have all been placed in one directory, would be as follows. So guys, this is your equivalent import. Notice the only biggest thing here is that IMPDP, system manager. Then it says full, so they're importing everything. Then they declare the directory at the top there. Directory equals, parallel equals, then DOM file. Then it gives us DOM file that we know. Cool. Let me see if there's another thing to explain before we end here. Oh, this is another export here, guys, using another powerful thing. See, they're doing an export. Notice this one down is an import, right? But the export at the top has an interesting thing there. I want everyone to watch this carefully. It does that. So we call this, I don't guys did that the other day. We call that the schema export. So that's schema export. If you notice, it's exporting two schemas at the same time. Then during his export, he points to the directory, points to the DOM file, and then it says include function, include that, include type. So these are extra things that they want the export or datapump to include in the DOM file. So if you notice here, they do that on functions, packages, procedures, type. So you can exclude certain things. And during import, you can include certain things. We're going to see how that works. This command will extract everything. So guys, will extract everything from the DOM, from the data pump export that was in the HR schema and import it into dev schema. Let's check here and see. So you see that import here, guys. And this import, down here they show the schema and it's just HR. And the DOM file is called that. And the remap schema, this is the key here. Oops. The key is this thing right here. You see, so they are remapping. They're taking what belonged to HR and they give it to that guy. That's it. They're shifting things from one person to another. Okay? So, in other words, guys, we have seen full export and schema export. So tomorrow we will continue with table export and import, or table space export and import. But tomorrow we'll finish this. Make sure if you have time, read this. We're still on page 13, because I spent too much time explaining stuff. And tomorrow we will do this, then we'll go back to those exercises. It's much easier than it is, guys, but at least you need to learn the terminology to be able to talk about this thing smoothly. If I could just open your head and put it there so you can talk it, we just do the exercises and then that's it. So with that said, let's kind of close it down for the night, and tomorrow we'll finish data pump. Means we took 3 days to do that one chapter 17 because it's important. Okay, guys, good night. Do the exercises that we just passed if you have time. If not, tomorrow.
Good night, sir.
Yeah, good night, good night, good night, good night, good night, good night, good night. And my
Good night,
senior
bro.
is anybody who's yes, good night, friends. Let's meet tomorrow and